Hello, welcome back to Mystic Revolution. Susana and I are so glad you're here. And today is the finale of our Strengthening Soul Senses.
Can't believe it.
It's incredible.
Our last episode of this season 4.
So I'm looking forward to the conversation. First, a little meditation. So let's tune into our own selves and feel the air on your skin. Feel the hair on your skin. Feel the clothes on your skin. Tune into your own body and how you're connected to your chair. And from there, you're connected to the earth. And notice your breath. And let's play by putting a beautiful golden sun above your head. Maybe if you're in a room, maybe at the ceiling. A golden sun, shining golden light through you. And down your grounding, increasing your consciousness of the earth and your consciousness of the heavens or spirit. Ask that sun, representing your source, to bring you to alignment and full of light. Beautiful. And please, if you can, stay just meditating as Susana and I transition out. If you need to, you can also start to move around and open your eyes as we say hi to this 48, episode 48. And we are focusing on our upper chakras. Last time we said hello to 2, 3, 4, sacral, solar plexus, and heart. Today we're saying hi to 5, 6, 7, throat, brow, crown. So, anything else you want to say about the heart as we go on, Susana?
Well, I think sometimes we refer to the throat, the brow, and the crown and above as spiritual centers, but of course the heart is too. I mean, we talked about that. You talked pretty profoundly about that, as where we really feel the oneness with all that is,
Mm-hmm.
And so we're just building from there. But the throat and the brow, or the center of head, which we'll use that language a little bit, and then our crown are primarily centers that we use to tap into the divine and get more energy from divine source.
Yes, and information that's very spiritually focused.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the throat chakra, let's just start there, shall we? And I'm going to cough.
Happens a lot around the throat chakra.
Right. So, I mean, for me, the throat and the heart are really inextricably entwined. I mean, all of the energy centers are, but these two in particular, because when there is a woundedness or a feeling of heart hurt, obviously it really impacts how we express ourselves, right? And what we express and what we feel able to express. So, I mean, the throat chakra really is about that expression, self-expression, divine expression, communication. It's also about listening, right? Our own ability to listen to ourselves and listen to others, listen to the God of our heart, the God or gods of our heart, whatever works for you. And it's important to tend to it, not just in an outward way, but also, right, that quiet and inward way too.
Yeah. And speaking to angels and guides and masters,
Yeah.
There's a whole lot going on, and speaking to one or two people intimately, speaking to big groups, and it's the energetic communication that comes along with the physical,
Yeah.
or not, or sometimes we're just talking back and forth energetically. you know um Sometimes in a new relationship, particularly like in an infatuation, I used to find myself talking to the person all the time energetically.
Mm.
But it's just like it's kind of a bad habit. My teacher would be like, pick up the phone. You want to have Do you
Right.
want to have communication? Like, I don't, I want to be, when I'm reading, I'm picking up a lot of what they're saying or people around them are saying or whatever. But in general, I want to be separate and just have, I want to be having my own thoughts and my own communication with myself, not constantly talking to somebody else.
No, I appreciate what you said about that because, right, our internal talk, right, also has a lot to do with this space. We think it has to do with our head space, but again, the two are kind of inextricably entwined. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in our thoughts create things, our thoughts create connections, right? What we allow ourselves to think actually can be heard or vibed or felt by other people. So obsessing about your crush is, it can be really fun and it actually can help build a good connection, but like that's happening, right? It is happening on an energetic or spiritual level when we do that, and same with negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, if you think your nasty thoughts about someone aren't having an impact on yourself or them, you're totally wrong.
Yeah, because we're all psychic. We're all mystics. In the end, some of us are more or less willing to believe the information we're getting, and some of us are more or less able to receive it because we've cleared the things that have been in the way. Some people never lose the ability, and some do. It can be gotten back, but people are getting this information
Yeah,
that we're sending,
yeah,
whether they know it or not, and it's going to flavor the soup.
it's going to flavor the soup.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So when we're tending to, I have a lot of people come to me and say, I need to open my throat chakra. Right? I get all like clenched up when I feel like I have something important to say, or when I'm trying to share how I feel with my partner or my sister or my parent or whatever. And just as we've discussed, right, this energy center relies on what's going on in other energy centers. So,
Mm-hmm.
right, if we're feeling heart hurt, we're feeling disempowered, we're feeling shaky and insecure, we're feeling heightened emotions. All of these can be reflected in the way in how we feel about expressing themselves and our actual ability to do so.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, right, we talk about constriction here. There are a lot of people where the issue is not like in being inhibited, it's a lot of talking,
Yes.
almost like, I don't know if you've ever been in a conversation with someone who just keeps talking, 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 and
I wish I haven't.
there's no pause to interject or break through. I mean, that's another, I
Mm-hmm.
guess it's another possibility that there's maybe some tending that person could do
Absolutely.
here.
Certainly imbalanced.
Yeah.
The communication of sending and receiving is out of balance, if nothing else. There's no
Yeah.
space for the receiving.
Yeah. And so then that
Yeah.
goes back to, right, this is about expression, but it's also about listening
Mm-hmm.
and the sending and receiving in equal measure,
Yeah.
and knowing
Yeah.
when it's good to express yourself, and knowing when maybe it's good to be quiet and listen,
Mhm.
or just using your ability to choose, to discern and choose in this,
Yes.
rather than again being at the mercy of whatever else is going on.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a muscle about it too.
Yeah.
Um, I know that for myself, I had to clear it. I used to see it as like Guardians of the Gate or whatever. And there was like this membrane. It was just like to be able to say something out loud, I had to go like run like 3 gauntlets to get it out of my face.
Mm.
And then after I finally cleared it, I was a little like, you know, a little bit chatty. And then I had to be just like, oh, okay. So I had to develop a different discipline because I'd always been held back. I'd been chained.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. And then, so then I had to figure that out. But it can figure out, which is cool. It used to be so hard to talk.
Yeah.
So I'd really love to share a little bit. This is a very popular chakra. It's spiritually interesting. It's physically interesting. It's very popular. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Usually a lot of foreign energy. A lot of people on the phone with a lot of people still with not hanging up the phone. So a lot of cords usually.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so I've developed this cute little system of looking, and I just want to share because it's so fun. So there's the main chakra that we're talking about all the time, and then sometimes I'll see, often when I look at the chakra, I'll see like below it, it's like the basement is like where like I look at body communication, and
Mm.
that's tied to the second chakra, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like the talk that I have with my own body, and
Right.
it used to be terribly negative, and now it's pretty positive, amazing, but not always. And then I see above the regular chakra, I tend to see, I call it the stories we live in. It's our self-talk.
Mm-hmm.
And I tend to see it like a romper room, like above the main level, like where the house comes together and it's this little playroom. I don't know, that's how I just see it. And I see that as very tied to the intellectual energy center, right? Like it's our thoughts and they go round and round or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of the roof, there's a little cupola. Just how I tend to read it. It's just, you don't have to, it's not real. It's a metaphor for me to read through and heal through.
Right.
But that's the um that's the spirit communication with the divine. With
Mm.
and so like I just tune into these little parts of the house, and it used to be really complicated with all those knobs I was talking about last time at the throat chakras. Too many knobs,
Yes.
I couldn't read it. So now it's like, okay, which level are we looking at and what needs done? So anyway, I don't know. Do you think that's fun?
Yeah, I love that. I love that
Yeah,
idea. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
it's really cool.
and what it points out to, I mean, it helps sort of delineate the different kinds of conversations that we have,
Yes.
both internally and externally. And I really am grateful that you brought up the idea of self-talk, because that absolute how you talk to yourself absolutely impacts all the other energy centers in
Yes,
your body,
it really
right?
does.
Oh my
It
gosh.
does.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's
And like anytime someone's making change or seeing differently or whatever, like it's just like, okay, now the upper throat chakra, the stories we live in, that's like, are you willing to let that shift? Are you willing, because it holds us.
yeah.
I've seen it with identity. It really holds us in place, what we
Yeah.
tell ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I'm finally, it's like, it's one of the places I'm always going back to. Okay, now are you willing to shift here?
Yeah. And I love that phrase, the stories we live in. The stories we live in. What
Mhm.
stories do you tell yourself, and what stories do you live in? Are
Yeah.
they true?
Mhm.
It's
They
amazing how I ask myself that question on a pretty regular basis. And it's like there's more stories. There's always stories that are going on to look at.
totally.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
I mean, like a person could build the whole ministry on just that. It's just so powerful.
Healing your stories. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
letting them iterate and letting them come into more what you choose and what the reality is. Yeah, we could go on and on. So,
I know.
yeah.
Yeah. But we probably should move on up to
Let's move it on up.
the brow center,
Yes.
the sixth chakra.
hmm Which we talk about the center of that is where the center of the head is,
Mhm,
which we have talked about lots of times before.
mhm.
Yeah.
So how do you tend to view it? What do you talk to people about that?
As usual, seeing what is and what's possible, but what is around what I'm seeing energetically, what I'm seeing in the world, what I'm seeing, like what's my path,
Mhm.
being seen and being seen. It's related to both.
Hmm.
And the little picture that often see around this is that I believe that we all have senses. We all have these spiritual senses. And this is one that, first of all, not everyone understands that they have it. There was this one time where when I was in school and a newer student was like, Wendy, can you help me? I don't see. I'm just like, I see you seeing. She's like, but I don't see. I'm like, when in your mind's eye, you're like remembering something and seeing it, or you're creating something. She's like, oh, yeah, I know what that is. I'm like, that's it. Right? You're seeing.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We see what
Yes.
is, and we see what's possible, and we see what we want, and we see what we don't want. Right. Like just in case. So not everyone understands that they are seeing when they are. And then some of us are seeing partially, or there's real fear. In training, there's so much fear of seeing what we don't want to see, seeing what we've been told not to see, seeing what we're afraid to see.
Yeah.
So I talk to people about, like, I see a window dressing. I see like all the things about the window dressing. So there's sheer curtains, there's shade, there's curtains closed. I'm always talking to them about, like, you can open and close the curtains because then it's safer.
Yeah.
And you don't, the stuff that you've had behind you, the shadow, the things in the past you're not ready for, you don't have to look out there yet.
Yeah.
You can only look at what's comfortable and then continue to clear and own more. But you can start to open, you can look through the shades just to validate. I can see, okay, I just open like this and I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And another important thing is that just because we see it, we don't have to fix it. We don't have to take it on. It's not ours. It's so important. I don't want to see it because I don't want to fix it. Well, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Right. So this metaphor is very helpful of opening up more, allowing more light, allowing more seeing, starting to be 360, but starting here. Can I just
Yes.
validate that I can see? Because a lot of people can.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I agree with you. A lot of people are scared to because they feel like they won't be able to shut it down, or they'll see they'll see horrible things.
Yeah.
They'll see they'll come face to face with some of the things of their own past, but also even beyond that, they'll see demons, or they'll see really
Yeah.
scary things, entities around them. And so just like you can close your eyes and say, or turn off the TV, I don't want to watch that scary movie, you can with this too, right?
hmm
Or put something in your mouth and you're like, oh, I don't like the flavor of it, just put it down, throw it in the garbage,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes. You don't have to look.
All of these soul senses are just like that. um and what I tend to lean into with this energy center is that it allows me to see sort of what's around and behind and beyond what's right in front of my face. Tune into, and this gets into the idea of compassion and empathy, like understanding, right, why someone
Yeah.
acted that way, being
Yes.
able to see actually why they did, right,
Right.
and then not have it have to be something about me or
Yes.
something that I have to fix
Yes.
or or plant some seeds for generating some ideas about how maybe I could tend to this problem or tend to this relationship a little bit differently.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So we can start to see, we can see what is, what's possible, and then what we choose. I mean, it adds a whole lot of layers of efficacy within us to be able to shift our experience within and then in our life.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
okay, so we're coming to a close on the brow chakras. Anything else, Susanna?
No, when we go up to the crown, I may jump back a little bit, but let's go up to the crown.
Okay. The crown is coming to a theater near us after our break, after a short break. And it's a fascinating place. So stay tuned.
Thank you, We Are Historically, for your conscious human apparel. Shop online at wearehistorically.com.
Hey friends, Susanna and I want to remind you that we offer a Mystic Revolution meditation. It's the first Tuesdays at 4:30 Pacific. Please come as our guest. You can see our website for the link. And thank you for playing with us.
Raise your vibration and energize your life with specialized Fibonacci tuning forks that deepen meditations and empower self-healing. Get your vibrational sound tools for personal enhancement at energybodytuners.com.
Welcome back to Mystic Revolution. This is our finale season of strengthening our soul senses. And Susanna and I have been talking about the throat chakra and the brow chakra. And now we're moving up to the ruling chakra, the top of the body, the crown chakra. And Susanna, I'd love to hear what you have to say.
Oh, sure. So the crown chakra is often thought of as our personal place to connect with the divine, to connect with God, to connect with the heart of the sky. And for me, I mean, it's very connected to the center of head space. When I intentionally put myself in the center of my head, then it's actually much easier for me to activate this and make a really powerful connection. Sometimes I guide people to envision a beautiful crown on their head. Like, put the most beautiful crown on your head that you can think of, right? Make it a pillar up to the sky or whatever. What I found is that some people find it easier to connect from themselves up. Others prefer to connect from have divine energy come down through the crown and into them. You can do it either way. You can do it so many ways, but that really is allowing ourselves to kind of uplift into a higher clarity, a higher vibrational space, a higher clarity of mind, higher self, connecting with your higher self in connection with the divine.
Yeah. We've talked about places like the Akashic Records and lots of information. We've talked about information and energy downloads. The crown is where that comes into the system. Yeah. So the crown for me, there's some of these abilities of the chakras have a name called a French name, and this is claircognizance, clear knowing. And I believe knowing is really essential to this chakra. So we know our own truth. We know our way. We know the divine connection. We know how to bring more spiritual information, energy, our own self as spirit into the body in the chakra. It's tied to an energy of transmediumship, the ability to bring hopefully ourselves more into the system and not other consciousnesses from my perspective. But so we know all, like, it's just an incredible knowing. We're known by spirit and we know spirit, and all the other information, I said Akashic, all the other information is available to us. We've talked about, we have a library card. We don't need all of it in the body. We could just, loan out what we want and bring it back and not get cluttered up. And I love how you talked about when we're in the center of the head, it's just easier because it's aligned. We have the foundation of everything below it, but the brow chakra in there, and then we're sitting there and we're just awash with all this beautiful information, comfortably, hopefully.
Well, and I think it helps, right? I talked about sort of that higher clarity of mind, and you spoke to clairvoyance, literally means clear seeing. And in that center of head space, in connection with the divine, what happens? We automatically go into present time. Which makes us much more present to all that is as it is, and thus the clear seeing. When we are in center of head in connection with the divine, our ego is not in the picture.
No.
Our feelings are not, overwhelming feelings about this, that, or the other are sort of on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's really, this is where I meditate.
Right.
We talked about, meditation, and Wendy and I do meditations every month. This is where we meditate from.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great place to be able to get to. It's not that hard to get to either. So it's a different kind of meditation. I'm just doing a little aside on the kind of meditation that we do. If you want to experience it, please join us.
Yes.
For our monthly meditation.
And what we practice as meditation, then eventually we practice in our lives. And it just really changes the quality of our lives to be in that neutral, amused, connected, not overwhelmed place.
Yeah. And I think what you said about neutrality, when we were talking about the heart, we mentioned how there's so much going on that is sort of seeding divisiveness in our hearts.
Yes.
With this meditation, that division also dissolves. Again, it's clear seeing. You can tune into what's really going on. And in a way that is in present time and is in neutral. Why is neutrality important? Because neutrality just puts you in this sort of objective observer state. Information gathering, right? It's not to do something to get more energy to throw at that person or that thing that you're so uptight or divided about. It's literally a practice of cultivating that unity consciousness.
Yeah, I like to say that neutrality, which we practice very much all the time, is spiritual perspective.
Yes.
Not body perspective, not physical perspective. It's nice to have a different perspective than the usual. And then also equanimity, non-judgment, not being dragged around by everything's wrong or better or whatever.
Just not being dragged around, period, by whatever else is going on around you, or people doing crazy dances, or people who are angry, or someone who seems to be poking at you. And, believe me, I do. I meditate this way every day because it helps me. It doesn't mean I don't get hooked now and again. Of course I do, but I can easily unhook. It helps me to easily unhook.
And just to know we can unhook is huge.
Right?
We can.
We can unhook.
We can.
Oh my gosh.
When things hit the fan, just the other night, 2 nights ago, I was an insane person. Something happened and I was an insane person. And I'm like, I'm an insane person. I'm like, well, I know what to do about it. And I did some of my own work. I talked to my partner and like talked myself down off the ledge. And I called a friend to trade with. And by the time I did trade with her, like a day later, I was handled. But I was like, oh, here's the hooks that got me. So let's clear them. Right.
Yeah.
But like, so it doesn't have to like be like months, years, you know, things can resolve.
Yeah.
And then not hooked, and then I can be happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be
So
happy, and sometimes it even helps evolve, right? Take something to the next level of evolution. I mean,
definitely.
it's I think it's a wisdom building practice as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this chakra is very exciting, and we can go on and on about it, but this is the end of this season. It's a great place to end with the spiritual perspective. It's a great place to end with the spiritual information chakras of strengthening our soul senses. And then next season, we plan to go into our path of psychic mastery. So, like, what is there to learn, and what is it like to learn, and how much these distinctions can help us?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thank you,
So
Susana.
thank you. Thank you all for joining us. And as a reminder, we do a free monthly meditation the first Tuesday of every month. So look for information that we put out about that. And if you
I
want
just
to
want to say about that these techniques that we're talking about, we do, and we'll be saying hi to some chakra information too. So if you like any of this, come play with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And feel free to reach out to us, make some comments on our Facebook page, send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, let's just keep the mystic conversation flowing, because I think especially right now, it's really, really important.
Yeah. So let's have a quick meditation.
Okay.
Hello, body. Hello, chair. Hello, letting go what's not us. Like sand in our hands. You've received a lot of information today and in this season, and whatever resonated with you, keep it, it's yours. And whatever didn't, just drop it like sand in your hands. And let Susana's information go back to her like you're giving her some wildflowers. And let my information come back to me like you're giving me wildflowers. And we're giving you wildflowers, your information and energy back to you. What you experienced, what you learned, what this stimulated for you is yours. So own it for yourself. Sit in the center of your head. Notice your sun. Let it fill you with light. And have fun just playing that meditation as we say. Thanks so much for playing, and we'll see you next time in Mystic Revolution. Thank you.
Thank you. See you next time, next season.
Thanks so much for playing with us. Please support Mystic Revolution by liking and sharing our show.
And sign up to get notified when new content is available. We really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Have a happy always.
Join us for our monthly Mystic Meditation on the first Tuesday of the month at 4:30 p.m. Pacific Time.
Click on the link in the description to get more information and join the Mystic Revolution.
We look forward to seeing you then.